Welcome in, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Dynasty Force podcast. Back with you again this Wednesday. Today's the 6th, January 6th, 2020. A little later start time, thanks to my fiance. But, gotta respect the grind because she's putting up with me. I am here instead of, my normal cohort being by my side. Today, I am instead here with a longtime friend of mine, someone that I deep down hate. His name is Stefan. Stefan, you want to say hi? You want to come out of your
What's up,
shell a little
guys?
bit?
First time on the show. I want to
Actually,
correct
I
you.
don't
You
think this is
said
true
2020
because
when it's 2021, buddy.
I did say I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's true because weren't you on the Fantasy Feud episode?
No, you asked me about it, but I ended up not
Oh,
showing up.
yeah, you said you were scared. I remember that. That happens all the time, guys. Not just, you and me, but definitely with Stefan. Um, I wanted to tell you all a quick story about how we met freshman year of high school. I had a friend, his name was Jason, and Jason was friends with Stefan. They went to, grade school before. And, I became friends with Jason over time, and he was like, hey, you see Stefan over there sitting by himself alone. Why don't you go talk to him? Because I think you guys would be friends. I was like, okay, that sounds fun. So I walk up, and I don't even remember what I was talking about, but I go talk to Stefan. This man does not say a single word to me ever. And I'm just so confused. I go back defeated to Jason. I say, Jason, I don't know what you were talking about, but he hates me. He was like, no, I guarantee he doesn't hate you. And no, he hated me for the rest of that semester. And then next semester, we were putting biology together, and he really didn't know anyone else besides like one other person. So he was forced to talk to me, and that's how we became best friends now. And Jason is also still one of our best friends if you are interested in hearing that. So,
It's kind of false. I don't remember that first part, but
what? How do you not? Okay. In all honesty, if I'm in your position and some random person that I don't know comes up to me and starts talking, I'm
exactly
probably
but I didn't know you at all, buddy. If I didn't say anything, I'm sorry.
no. You hated me. It's the
We're
only
pulling the past
explanation.
now.
It's the only explanation. So Billy's not on tonight because Billy had some stuff going on himself. He told me he was getting a new phone today, had to deal with that, had to go to the Verizon store. He was there for most of the day. He told me that he has NBA stuff coming up on his Twitter. I believe he might be live right now. So, he was asking, we could push it back, we could do whatever for Billy. I was like, no, you know what? You work hard on this. You got your other stuff going on. You work hard all the time. You could take this night off, and I'll be here with my buddy Stefan. And here we are. So, I hope you all understand why this episode is so poor tonight, because it's not my fault. It's because Stefan is here. So please excuse his suckiness. Over normally, as you know, we normally kick this show off with a little presentation showing here, which it's not up today. We have the preview for the mock draft, which will be coming soon, I promise. But real quick, shout out to the Twitter at Dynasty Force Pod. You can follow us there. You can catch us every time we go live if you turn the notifications on, or if you prefer YouTube, Dynasty Force Podcast on YouTube. We're on all major listening platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, I should say. Stefan, are you subscribed?
I actually don't think I am.
Wow.
But I will subscribe.
Wow. Gonna be on the pod and not subscribed. I get out right now. Leave.
I'm sorry.
let's see what else. You can follow me on Twitter at FantasyForceFB. I'm going to try to be covering more news than I have been, because I like to give my little taste on sort of things. I try to retweet a lot of news, but my own flair can help. You feel me? You feel me, Steph?
I feel you.
Steph's got a little Swedish flair over there. Like, what's the sauce on Swedish meatballs, Steph?
I mean, you can have different sauces for it. If you
Okay, here's a better question.
Cranberry sauce on it if you
want.
Depends
what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a Swedish heritage thing to put cranberry sauce, or not on top of it, but with it.
I'm just thinking about, because you know what I'm talking about with at least the American style Swedish meatballs, how it's like a cream sort of sauce on top.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's not Swedish.
Wow. Us Americans butchering everything, am I right?
Yep, exactly.
One other quick memory. Stefan, you lived in Sweden for a few years. I know you remember how I used to butcher every single Swedish name.
You brought up the map.
If you ever want to have a good time, pull up Google Maps, just look at a random country and try to read their street names, because as an American, you will not be able to. And Stefan, as someone who lived there and knew how to pronounce them, he was disgusted in my name. So, anywho, Stefan is on Twitter at StefanBeck13. His name is Tyrod Taylor. So if you want to follow him over there, you can. I'm sure Stefan would be nice enough to follow back. He doesn't really do anything on Twitter, though, so no point. Anywho, I brought Stefan on because Stefan and I always tend to have good fantasy football chats. We normally don't. I mean, sometimes we agree. Like, we were talking about football just the other day, talking about top 10 receivers in the league, and we send each other, because I said Justin Jefferson could be a top 10 wide receiver. We basically sent each other our top 10 lists, and they were very similar. And it was basically top 15, and there was just 2 or 3 names that were different. So for the most part, we have similar opinions, but at the same time, you never know when you actually get into the Dynasty room. So this will be the first mock draft that, I mean, I haven't seen many mock drafts, but, for the new year, but we'll see, because, how do you value incoming rookies too, who I believe are going to be in this draft? Trevor Lawrence, Jamar Chase, let's say Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. You don't know what teams they're going to be on, but I don't think the computer values them very highly, but we might. So let's see what we're working with here. For those of you who are watching, you can see. For those of you who are not watching, I feel sorry for you because you should be watching. But I will describe it for you anyway. We are going to
get the message
one way or another. Dynasty League, obviously, all players, linear format. This is on Draft Wizard through Fantasy Pros, which is one of the best, mock draft sites. That and Sleeper, I think, have the best mock draft sites personally. 12 teams. We don't have it says 4th for draft position. I'm going to hit randomize right before we get started. But 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, obviously, 2 flex spots, and then a super flex spot. So yeah, I am going to hit the randomize button, and we are going to see what position we start with. Stefan, do you have a preferred position that you would like to start with?
Preferred draft position?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of a late first round kind of guy because you can get a high end, a lower tier 1 running back, and then also a higher tier 1 wide receiver typically. But in your Dynasty League, I went full rebuild, so I went Patty first round without super flex.
Oh, how do I have you on the show and we don't talk about that? I'm sorry, everyone, real quick. Stefan and I had yeah, he mentioned in my Dynasty League, he went full rebuild, but his full rebuild going was a preseason trade between me and him, in which he gave me Dalvin Cook and Deshaun Jackson, a third-round pick this year, second-round pick next year. I've mentioned this trade different times on the podcast, but now that you're here, I gave him Antonio Gibson, Christian Kirk, my first this year, my first next year, and swap rates in 2023.
Your second rounder this year too.
Oh, okay. I knew someone else had that. I didn't know who had it. So, okay, my second rounder this year too. So, it's a haul for Dalvin Cook, but I won the championship this year, so I can't complain too much. As for Stefan, he got Antonio Gibson, who I think is a great building block. Like, we'll see where he goes in this draft, and I'll be very interested to see that. Then he gets, 2 first-round picks, the better first-round pick between us in the future, and, Christian Kirk, who knows? We'll see. But, he's
Since
better
we're
than...
talking about that Dynasty League, you also had James Robinson.
No,
you dropped him,
it.
And I picked him up with the $17 waiver claim. And so Antonio Gibson, James Robinson is my 2 running backs. It's nice for the future.
I had James Robinson. I cut him
I think it was the week before they cut Fournette, or
it was
that.
Very, very quick. And I, obviously I thought because at the time Raquel Armstead was going to be the guy who would take over. So I just didn't think James Robinson was going to be anywhere close to what James Robinson was this season. Obviously, man, big dynasty regrets. Because if I had James Robinson on that team, because the team has Dalvin Cook. It has Joe Mixon. It has Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I had James Conner. I ended up trading him for Myles Gaskin. If I had James Robinson in that mix too, it would have been too overpowered.
Yeah.
So I'm very sad that I gave up on him too early in a way. And now Stefan is here to remind me every time he gets an opportunity that I did do this. Shame. But I won the championship, so I'm the GOAT, obviously. Anywho, let's get into this mock draft. We're gonna randomize the position right now, and we will be picking 8th, which that's a fine spot. It's not the best spot, it's not the worst spot. Actually, it might be the worst spot. We'll see. Only one way to find out. So, hopefully this draft. Okay, here we are. I always like to see the team names too. Camnam style, I guess. Green Eggs and Hamler, Fat Man, Crying Jordan Howards, Kiss from a Rosen, Lambo number 5, Sasquatch Barkley. Okay, and then Jurassic Chark, Living on a Prater. Okay, I like that one.
This one is clearly your team.
Breezy. Oh yes, your team is clearly the best one. All right. So, just a rundown, 101 was Christian McCaffrey, 102, Pat Mahomes, 103, Saquon Barkley, 104, Dak Prescott, 105, Ezekiel Elliott, which is surprising to me that he would go over Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook. Kyler Murray, number 6, Lamar Jackson, number 7 still. That's also surprising to me. Stefan, we have basically our pick of the litter here. Between Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, they're probably all the most elite players available, as you see on the left-hand side. We also have DK Metcalf. Josh Allen is the best quarterback available. Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry, Deshaun Watson down there as well. I don't know about you, but I would be taking Dalvin Cook here. I just think his role is more, guaranteed each week than Alvin Kamara, if you can agree with that.
Yeah, Kamara, I think he finished as the number 1 running back, but Cook probably was better points per game because I think he missed a week or two. But But I just think Dalvin Cook's probably the safer pick. They're the same age. They both got extended. But Cook with the Vikings, I feel like his role is going to stay consistent no matter what. But Kamara with Breeze, the situation he might retire, is Kamara going to be as lethal with a different QB, or if they stick with Taysom Hill for the future?
Right.
So I think Cook would be the better pick.
And when Taysom Hill was the starter, Taysom Hill, he had one big game with Taysom Hill as the starter, but he wasn't super involved consistently in the passing game. That one game with Taysom Hill as the starter where he was good was a game where they were trailing, and that obviously wasn't how they wanted to play. Just a quick check on what you said. Alvin Kamara did finish as the running back 1 in PPR, scoring 25.2 points per game. Dalvin Cook, who did miss one extra game, finished with 24.1 points per game. So that's about 1.1 points less. So very close between the two of them. But I think you hit the nail on the head. The more certainty next year in Minnesota for Dalvin Cook. Even though Gary Kubiak is leaning towards retirement, which is kind of concerning, but Alvin Kamara could have Taysom Hill. That's even more concerning in that sense. So
exactly,
let's go with Dalvin Cook here. And I also like how it says needs, because obviously everyone needs everything at the moment. 109 Russell Wilson, 110 Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas then went. Let's see. I got to scroll back a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins at 112. Devontae Adams at 201. First pick in the second round. I actually think that's pretty crazy that Michael Thomas went ahead of Hopkins and Adams with the kind of stink on him from this past season.
Yeah, and especially the same question with Breeze considering retirement, where there's some executives expecting him to retire. Devontae Adams says Aaron Rodgers, Hopkins says Kyler Murray,
right?
And Michael Thomas would be left with Taysom Hill.
Yeah, definitely. Though I will say the two games I believe they played together, Michael Thomas was... Well, one of the games was against Denver, which wasn't really a game because Denver didn't have a quarterback. But Thomas was heavily involved in those two games, which I always thought would be the plan. So
yeah, he's one of the best receivers in the league, so he's always going to get the targets. It's just if QB play also has a big factor.
You're definitely not wrong. 202, Deshaun Watson. 203, Tyreek Hill. 204, Derrick Henry, still underrated. 2K yards and still going in the second round of Dynasty drafts. Crazy. Chris Godwin going 205, Miles Sanders 206, Clyde Edwards-Helaire sneaking in at 207, which is funny to me that Clyde Edwards-Helaire in this mock draft is going ahead of Jonathan Taylor, who is still on the board for us here at the 208. Which, how do we have the 208? Shouldn't it be a snake draft? Huh. That's strange, but I mean, I'm too deep in it now.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I can actually hit this restart button, and then I might be able to just quickly hit this setting button and then swap it. No, I don't want... All right. My mistake, everyone, because now we're going back all the way to the beginning. So I don't know why it would set it on linear. That's weird. Let's hope that we can get Dalvin Cook with the 8th pick again, because that was a steal. And that was my... I thought that was a good foundation, Definitely was. Let's see how these picks go. I'm sorry that I messed up, and we are here resetting the draft. Let's try this again. Pat Mahomes, 101. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. Michael Thomas went 104. That's crazy. Lamar Jackson, 105. Also crazy. We can't get Dalvin Cook, who went 106. Zeke went 107. We can still get Alvin Kamara. This actually might be a better debate here, because would you rather have Alvin Kamara, Stefan, or would you rather have Kyler Murray? Kyler was the quarterback 1, I believe, on the season, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Josh Allen might have overtook him, because he for the first half of the season he was clearly the number 1 QB.
Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at the finish.
with
I'm looking at the
injuries.
finish right now. Yeah. Kyler did finish as the quarterback 2 behind Josh Allen. As you mentioned, injuries kind of took over, but Kyler has age on his side as well. And Alvin Kamara, while he's going to be a great running back, no matter who the quarterback is, he is getting a little up there in age for a running back, 25 years old. Steph, who would you prefer at this pick?
I probably lean towards Kyler a little bit, just for the sense that with our last mock kind of cheating here, Jonathan Taylor was available there.
Yeah.
So you can still get a great dynasty running back.
Well, Derrick,
whether it's Derrick Henry too, yeah.
Yeah.
And
to argue that, though, Josh Allen will likely be available there in the second round. Deshaun Watson could even be there in the second round. To kind of, sway away from you, I believe only 2 quarterbacks have gone, Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. So 4 running backs have come off the board to this point. So, you could throw that either way. I mean, it's a tough situation for me, but I think you have more stability with Kyler, and he's just someone that you can lock in every week because of the rushing upside, the precision he has throwing the ball, and he has DeAndre Hopkins. Like, even if he loses Larry Fitzgerald this offseason, he still has DeAndre Hopkins. He still has great weapons.
Hopefully develops.
Definitely. I like Alvin Kamara. I would not fault anyone for taking Kamara over Murray, but I'm gonna push the button on Murray here, and we'll go with it. We'll see what happens. 109, the Shaken Bakers better take Baker here. They take Derrick Henry. Oh, that's so disappointing. So they took Derrick Henry at 109, DeAndre Hopkins 110. Alvin Kamara at 111, which is very funny that, Henry over Kamara, maybe a little too much respect now in this mock draft. The opposite. Dak went 112. Devontae Adams was still 201. Deshaun Watson 202. Tyreek Hill 203. And Russell Wilson 204. Now we have Josh Allen still here, but I think he's the last elite quarterback, kind of. I mean, Aaron Rodgers still, but Aaron Rodgers is up there in age. You have Justin Herbert too, Joe Burrow. So you have some decent options further down, but there's not many more great quarterbacks. At the same time, you mentioned that, we had a little peek ahead, and there were guys like Jonathan Taylor who was still there. Nick Chubb is still here as well at the running back position. They would really be the only 2 people I have in consideration here at the running back position. And then at wide receiver, DK Metcalf is here. Justin Jefferson is here. What are you thinking, Steph?
Probably running back, because in Dynasty it's hard to come along really solid running backs. The case for Chubb and Taylor is difficult because Taylor, he has shined towards the end of the season. He really stepped up his game. But Chubb without the injury was amazing.
Yeah.
And especially in the beginning of the season, the Browns were running the ball all over everybody.
What's crazy is that in a PPR league, and we all know that Nick Chubb is not, a PPR running back. Nick Chubb, with missing, I believe he missed 4 games. With missing 4 games, still finished as the running back 11, which is just like a top 12 running back, despite missing 4 games. Like he was very good this season. I think he'll remain very good in the future, even with Kareem Hunt being there. But Jonathan
Hunt
Taylor
was a top 10 back, I'm pretty sure.
Hunt was right ahead of him at 10. So, the thing for me is, Jonathan Taylor, he just kind of has this like allure, like he could be so great because he's so young and you just feel like he's just scratching the surface of what he can be, and you know the physical athleticism of Jonathan Taylor. Like, I feel as though taking Nick Chubb, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, and he's going, but you know what you're getting with Nick Chubb, which is going to be like probably 5 through 8 range, because whether you want to admit it or not, Kareem Hunt does limit the upside of Nick Chubb. I mentioned that Nick Chubb finished as the running back 11 overall, but he finished as the running back 10 in points per game. And like I said, that upside is more limited with Kareem Hunt. Now, the Colts do have Nyheim Hines, but I don't believe Hines is. I think. Hold on. So I'm thinking about it. Hines, I believe, is under rookie deal for another season after this year. That would make sense. And then Kareem Hunt was extended for 2 more seasons. So, I mean,
Nick
1 more
Chubb's
year.
coming up at the end of his rookie deal, so he's going to have to get an extension soon. Or
I think Cleveland will extend him, though. But man, I mean, I think the difference maker for me in this one would be the 4 years difference. As you see on the screen, Chubb is 25, Taylor's 21.
And we got Kyler, who's a young QB, only 23. So it's more of a future and now pick.
Right, definitely. So I think that kind of decides it. We'll go towards Jonathan Taylor here, build on the side of youth, and we'll see where we can build from there. Experts rank Jonathan Taylor as the top RK. I don't know what RK is. As the top, I don't know, player, maybe. Cool. We got a steal, basically. So after we took Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb went the next pick. Then A.J. Brown, D.J. Moore, Joe Mixon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Mike Evans, and Travis Kelce to round out the second round. Third round, Aaron Rodgers, Juju Smith-Schuster, DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin.
Josh Allen, wow.
I know. Very, very crazy. Amari Cooper, Aaron Jones, and George Kittle. So when we look at the board here on our pick, at running back, DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler. There's some good names here at running back. The board that they suggest here is highlighted by wide receivers. You see, if I look on the side here, Justin Jefferson still here, Calvin Ridley, Stephon Diggs. But I think you have a lot of great wide receivers here. Like, I can continue scrolling here on the left side. Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, Kenny Galladay, T. Higgins, Julio Jones, who I'm fine with. I like DJ Chark a lot for the future with Trevor Lawrence. So I feel like there's more options at wide receiver. And on a short turn, I feel like I'm more inclined to go somewhere else in that position. Do you feel me on that stuff?
Yeah. Especially with those, there's still some solid running backs available there.
Definitely. Josh Allen is here, and it's hard to pass up on a guy who finished as the quarterback 1, but at the same time,
it's not super flex. I already have Kyler.
It is super flex.
Oh, it is super flex?
Yes. I would not have let you draft Kyler in the first round if it was not super flex, buddy. But I mean, because it is super flex is the only reason I would, consider Allen here too.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we could make it work getting a guy like Tannehill later, or like I feel like we don't need an elite quarterback 2 to pair with,
2 elite QBs and Superflex does give you a big advantage.
It does. And there are some options at running back. J.K. Dobbins also there, Antonio Gibson, James Robinson. I'll toss it to you because I think Josh Allen, I mean, you can make an argument for Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow as being towards the more elite category, but I think Josh Allen is the only other known elite quarterback So would you take him here over all those running backs, over all those wide receivers?
I probably would because actually I don't know because Josh Allen was the number 1 QB this past year, and I was big on him coming out of the draft. I thought he should have gone number 1 to the Browns because they had Tyrod, have him sit and develop.
Mm-hmm.
But
I do remember that, by the way. While I was high on Lamar Jackson instead, and we've both taken some dubs and some L's on that, so I'll just.
But pairing Jonathan Taylor with another high-end running back is really convincing to me, and or even Justin Jefferson, because as we were talking before, Justin Jefferson is arguably a top 10 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely make the argument from it. I mean, I want to see some more consistency, see him do it again before locking him in as the top 10 receiver in the league.
But even so, Stephon Diggs is there too, who, Stephon Diggs, I believe he finishes the wide receiver 3 in fantasy football this year. Wide receiver 3 overall. And he has been an elite fantasy producer as well with Josh Allen. And he's only 27, which kind of seems a little, probably 28 by next season, but seems a little older, but that gives us at least 3 years of a true, I believe is elite wide receiver. And, you can make the argument like Justin Jefferson has only done it for a little over half a season, but Stephon Diggs, we've always known the talent, and it came to fruition this season and then some. So you can make that argument that he for sure is going to be talented, and I would bet on him to do it again. So there's some options. Let me take another look at the running back position. DeAndre Swift, who lit it up over the and I don't know, because I was thinking, say we pass up on running back here, right? We go Josh Allen, we go Justin Jefferson, we go Stephon Diggs, whoever. With our next pick, we'll have probably our choice of. I think we should go running back or quarterback here, because I really don't think anyone's worth the pick besides Josh Allen at quarterback. At running back, I think I would probably put DeAndre Swift ahead of all the guys that are here and still available. Maybe J.K. Dobbins, but we haven't seen it yet, and that's kind of risky. But I would put DeAndre Swift higher than all the guys in that same sort of field, because
I'm just worried about Detroit is just a mess.
And Stafford may not be back.
Exactly. If Stafford is gone, who knows how productive that offense will be. And in the past with running backs, they've kind of struggled getting in the ball now. DeAndre Swift has probably been their best running back to break out in the past 5 or so years.
20 or so years since Barry Sanders, basically.
Carry-on was a bust. The AP's old, and Swift is actually really good. But I think Josh Allen probably be the better.
You remember the Joik Bell years? Who?
Oh God. Or Amir Abdullah.
Oh my gosh. I think while I think DeAndre Swift is the best player, and I think he's kind of a tier above the rest, I still like Miles Sanders. I still like J.K. Dobbins. I'm not huge on Josh Jacobs, but I still like Austin Eckler. Still like Antonio Gibson, James Robinson as well, David Montgomery even. Guys like that I like, and I'd be fine with having them as my running back too. I think we should take Josh Allen, because after Josh Allen, there's really no other great, locked-in great quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, you can make that
every week and know you're getting a good week.
Right, Justin Herbert, you can make that argument, but we've seen Baker Mayfield go from top of the world as a rookie to absolutely dog shit next season.
Yep.
It's possible. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible.
And then Burrow's there too. He's coming off an ACL injury. The Bengals are a mess. Their offensive line isn't great. He can get hurt again.
You never know. You never know.
Josh Allen's just the best pick here.
I think so. Only 8% of experts agree, but I am an expert, so count it 9. Excuse me. And then there's even some players that, we don't necessarily like that much more going ahead of other players because, computer logic tries to be like, factoring in like how fans would kind of lean towards certain players, like Chris Carson going 309 over the likes of DeAndre Swift and Miles Sanders and all these young guys. Josh Jacobs 310, Justin Herbert 311, Miles Sanders 312. 401 was Cam Akers, which I have no idea what to think about the future of Cam Akers. He was someone I loved coming into this year, and that just fell apart from the very beginning with his early injury, the early success of Darrell Henderson. He had one really good week against the Jets and then came back or not against the Jets, Seahawks in primetime, I believe, and came back against the Jets in a great spot, laid an egg. And now I'm supposed to be excited for him in year 2. I just can't do it. I can't do it now. It's like how I felt about David Montgomery last year. I was so hype on David Montgomery as a rookie. I don't know if you know, Steph, but I remember I had him in because we were in a lot of leagues together last year. I believe I had him
in Hunt's league, and you traded him for Kenyon Drake, and then right after you traded him, he just went off.
Well, yeah, this year. Well, actually, that kind of worked both ways because Kenyon Drake started performing well once I acquired him. So it's like he endured the bad stretch of David Montgomery, and I endured the bad. He endured the bad stretch of Kenyon Drake, and I endured the bad stretch of David Montgomery. And then we swapped, and then they both started doing well. So we're like, oh, this is nice. I like this player. It worked out that way. But I had David Montgomery too. I rode him to a championship, not championship, like a championship matchup in Ricky's league this year. Ricky has been on the podcast before, but regardless, Ricky's league, I made it to the championship led by David Montgomery, and I lost in the championship because I was playing Alvin Kamara, but, I have felt the good and the bad of David Montgomery, who is still on the board, by the way.
DeAndre Swift's still there.
DeAndre Swift is still there. Antonio Gibson, James Robinson, both still there. Justin Jefferson still here. Stephon Diggs still here. Oh, I didn't mention Keenan Allen went 402. Odell Beckham 403 and Kenny Galladay 404. I'm not really interested in Calvin Ridley because I feel like if I was going to draft a wide receiver 2, I would draft Justin Jefferson. Who's like
Jefferson or Diggs. Diggs is a year older, and I think
and Diggs has the higher upside.
It's the number one option.
Yeah.
And then you got Jefferson, who's 5 years younger and is probably around the same production as Ridley.
Right. Or if we wanted to go running back, there's Swift there who has the upside, the talent and the upside. Antonio Gibson, who, we both like the future of him, but, what quarterbacks will be there for Washington next year? James Robinson, he'll have Trevor Lawrence, but what else? It's a tougher situation. Where would you lean if you were picking here?
We don't have a wide receiver yet, do we?
We do not. We have Kyler Murray, Josh Allen at quarterback, and we have Jonathan Taylor at running back.
I think we should go receiver. Swift is probably a potential steal here with his talent, but it's just the questions with Detroit, and Diggs is a solidified, most likely top 5, definitely top 10 receiver, or even Justin Jefferson.
All right, here, let me make the argument here for Stephon Diggs. Ready? We have Josh Allen. And when Josh Allen throws a touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs, it's like, it's not double, it's a stack. It's just so, it's so satisfying. So
Especially since they had a great connection in their first season together. Hopefully they get even better in year 2.
I mean, I'm not saying it will, but let's hope. Especially since I'm hitting the draft button on Stephon Diggs right now. So they have no choice but to get better. We got a value with that pick. He was number 22 overall.
Carson Wentz.
Oh, that is funny. But
I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm looking at that weird.
Over Joe Burrow, God, Ryan Tannehill too. Got like it doesn't. Yeah, maybe who was it? Where is he? Fat Man? Maybe he's a Eagles fan. You never know.
It's possible.
Baker Mayfield went that early too. Excuse me. To run it down for everyone who cannot see, Julio Jones went 406, then Calvin Ridley 407. That's a debate to be had. Which one is more valuable in Dynasty? Baker Mayfield 408, Carson Wentz, DeAndre Swift went 410. That's a steal in my opinion. Daniel Jones 411, and then Austin Eckler 412. I think that's also a great pick. Allen Robinson 501, then Cortland Sutton, Terry McLaurin, Joe Burrow, J.K. Dobbins, Ryan Tannehill, Cooper Kupp. Real quick, just a peek at the quarterback position. Obviously, we're not going to draft any, but you look at what's there. Tua, Jalen Hurts, Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, Matt Ryan. I'm actually glad we took Josh Allen when we did, because no one, like, if I had to pair Jalen Hurts, who would be probably the guy I pick here, if I had to pair Jalen Hurts with Kyler Murray, like, I wouldn't feel great about the future of it,
Exactly.
Justin Jefferson's still here. Antonio Gibson's still here. CeeDee Lamb's still here. James Robinson's still here. David Montgomery. I really... this is a very difficult decision. I'll ask your opinion, Stefan, because I have absolutely no idea.
There's probably two people that I'm torn between right now. Jefferson, the value is crazy because he was already a top 10 receiver this past season, and that was only his rookie year. Seems like he's only bound to get better.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like James Robinson here would be a steal because he was on pace to be a top 5 running back in an offense with Gardner Minshew and Mike Glennon as his QB. With Trevor Lawrence at QB, I feel like he's just going to be utilized more as a receiver, and then also the run game is going to open up even more with Trevor Lawrence being there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue the fact that he will be a workhorse. And I would rather have a ton of running back depth than a ton of receiver depth, personally. I know this is a 3 wide receiver league, but regardless, you look a little further down the board. DJ Chark is still there. I mentioned that I do like DJ Chark a lot. But then even further down, there's Chase Claypool. Adam Thielen is going to be someone we could steal later on. Will Fuller, he's going to have a 1-game absence next season, but he was great this season when he was playing. So he's someone too. Laviska Shenault even as someone you could throw into the Trevor Lawrence hype. I just feel like there's a little more depth at wide receiver there too. So I agree, on your take towards going towards a running back. I just don't know if I like James Robinson more than Antonio Gibson, because I know J.D. McKissick was involved a lot this year, but I don't think that's going to stay the same. I think the difference, though, would be that Trevor Lawrence is going to be
a better receiver than Robinson. So PPR, he might have that edge. But I just feel Robinson, Trevor Lawrence, it's
Yeah, you don't know
It
who's
seems
going
like
to
a
be the
guarantee
quarterback
that
of.
he's going to go off again.
Like Washington won the division, but they might have lost the long race of things because Washington doesn't have an early draft pick now. So like they aren't really in a position to draft a quarterback. There are moves they could make to get one, but you just don't know at this point. So I think I would take Antonio Gibson and shoot for the upside if it were me, but you know what? I'll let you have this one here, Stefan. We'll take James Robinson, the certified workhorse, to pair with Jonathan Taylor. They'll play each other 2 times a year, so that'll be interesting. I am shaking my head right now because there is no way that this happened. Adam Thielen 509, Leonard Fournette of all people 510. I don't understand that. Tyler Lockett 511, Deontay Johnson to round
Make
it
sure
out.
they're listening to the experts.
Tua Tagovailoa 601, then Darren Waller, Jared Goff, James Conner. James Conner over Antonio Gibson. That God, I don't.
Montgomery.
Now this is a very tough position. This is where we say, do we want great depth at running back? You know, having Jonathan Taylor, who do we just take? James Robinson and Antonio Gibson would be a great running back core. Or do we want to balance things out a bit and take Justin Jefferson? CeeDee Lamb is in the conversation here, but I think I'd prefer Jefferson a little bit. I know what side I'm leaning towards, Stefan. What side would you lean towards?
I would probably go Justin Jefferson just because I feel like he's a lock as a top 10, 15 fantasy player for multiple years to come. We already have 3 solid running backs, but it's a toss-up between him and Gibson. Adding Gibson having 4 RB1s potentially on one team.
3, but still, and they're all 3 of them are very young. No, we have Jonathan Taylor and James Robinson. That's it so far.
Oh yeah, we got Kyler first.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
In that case, Gibson is probably my pick.
Yeah, that's the side I was leaning towards. Like I said, it is a 3 wide receiver league, but I'd rather have that depth at running back than, and it's so tough because we're sitting here saying like Justin Jefferson's insane value at this pick, and yet we just keep passing on him. But
even CD, Jefferson, and Gibson are all great values here.
They're all, and Mark Andrews. Don't sleep too much. I don't love Mark Andrews and the future prospects of him, but he's only 25, and here in the 6th round, that's also a very good spot to be in. So we'll take Antonio Gibson here to give us 3 great running backs. Mark Andrews, CeeDee Lamb, Kenyon Drake, Deebo Samuel, DJ Chark, Matt Ryan, Robert Woods to round out the 6th round. David Montgomery, Zach Ertz, Tyler Boyd, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Gallup, Matt Stafford, Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley at 707 over Kareem Hunt, who I would put as the next best running back left on the board. Over Justin Jefferson, who is still here, 90% of experts. Wow, that's a lot. T. Higgins is another great wide receiver still here. Here's the thing, Stefan, and I know.
Justin Jefferson, like, why is he?
I don't have.
Why is he despised by these managers?
The experts hate him, I guess. I don't have an explanation
for us. They're on our board for the past 5 picks.
I don't know. I have no idea. But listen, here, I'm going to make the argument as to why we should pass on Justin Jefferson again. All right? Look at the running back board here on the left. You have Kareem Hunt. After that, you have Ronald Jones, Melvin Gordon, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. You could reach on guys that you have hope for, like Raheem Mostert, A.J. Dillon, maybe Chase Edmonds if Kenyon Drake leaves in free agency, David Johnson, Myles Gaskin. But the only sure thing that is left is Kareem Hunt. And after that, I would feel pretty set at the running back position, like no matter what happened for a long period of time. And we can still play Kareem Hunt each week because it is a 2-flex league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
to go against you, I believe I'm high on Ronald Jones.
Oh my god,
he's not like he's a top 15 running back in that Tampa Bay offense. I'm pretty sure he was top 10 because other players had some injuries, but
no, he's just bad. He's just not a good player.
And especially if there's no Fournette, if they don't draft a running back, he can lead the charge and be a top 10 back.
I believe Keyshawn Vaughn will be more involved next season. I never thought Keyshawn Vaughn would be involved this season, and he wasn't, because Bruce Arians hates rookies. And, you know, you kind of say that, and everyone's like, haha, that's so funny, you know, but it's actually true. Like, it's not a joke, because, like, David Johnson, his rookie year, do you know what he did in a Bruce Arians offense? Absolutely nothing. Instead, it was Chris Johnson all the time. Old and washed up CJ2K got the ball over a rookie David Johnson. That is how much that Bruce Arians hates rookies. I'm not saying that Keyshawn Vaughn is going to take over this backfield the way that David Johnson took over the backfield next season, but I think he'll be a lot more involved next year, and I think he'll be better than what we saw from Fournette this year, personally.
It's possible, but I just think Justin Jefferson, we only have one wide receiver. He is a dynasty stud at wide receiver that we have been contemplating for the past 3 picks.
I will give you that. I believe Justin Jefferson is a better player than Kareem Hunt. This is just about, you know, kind of tiers that I'm in, you know, the tier breaks and the beliefs. I believe Kareem Hunt is the last known commodity at running back. I cannot stand for this Justin Jefferson disrespect. So for this occasion, and because 90% of experts are on your side, I will agree with you. And we will take Justin Jefferson here. 708, that would never happen in real life. But here we are. It's a mock draft, so let it happen. Let the magic flow through. Experts ranked him at number 20, and somehow he went number 80. That's just a fault in the system. Excuse me, if anything. I was really hoping Kareem Hunt would fall like Justin Jefferson did. Maybe, you know, maybe we should have went with Kareem Hunt just because Justin Jefferson kept falling so much, you know? Maybe we just hope he keeps slipping by. 709, Jameis Winston, then Melvin Gordon, Will Fuller, Kareem Hunt went 712. 801, Hollywood Brown, Noah Fant, Kerryon Johnson, Mark Ingram. We'll take a look at our roster here on the side. We have Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, James Robinson, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Antonio Gibson, Josh Allen. That, to me, is like an insanely good team that I don't think we would ever be able to luck into in real life. So while I don't like the accuracy of the mock draft, you know, you do these to learn and to gain experiences. So we'll do a few more rounds here to see where we can go. I will not let you talk me into drafting Ronald Jones. Instead, I am much more interested in T. Higgins, because while, like, if Joe Burrow comes back and he is, you know, 75% of what he was last season, then he will be great unless the Bengals take Jamar Chase at number 5, which is something that is being projected right now. But personally, I think it would be more beneficial to Cincinnati to make a different move at number 5. Either go defense or
Or that offensive lineman if he's there.
yeah, Panay Sewell if he's there, or even trade up for him because he like it's so like we talk about all the time about the impact of the offensive line in Cincinnati, but like it's despite how often it's said, it's still not said enough how bad it is. Like Panay Sewell would make a huge impact on that line. I feel like they should. I feel like Jamar Chase would not be the right pick for them because Panay Sewell is like so necessary.
They still could keep AJ Green around if, even though he's most likely to leave.
Yeah.
And
Tyler Boyd's another good wide receiver as well. There's
no point in having good receivers if you can't protect the QB.
Yeah, definitely. So are you with me with the T. Higgins pick over Ronald Jones?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll take that as a dub and hope that Ronald Jones goes right now, so we don't even have to consider him in the next round. Kirk Cousins, Robbie Anderson. It's going too fast for me to read right now. Thank God Ronald Jones went, so I wasn't going to be asked that. Henry Ruggs, 808, Jarvis Landry, Jalen Hurts, Christian Kirk, Brandon Cooks at 812. 901 went TJ Hawkinson, T.Y. Hilton, Sam Darnold, Devin Singletary, Le'Veon Bell, Ronald Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo. At quarterback, Tom Brady is still here. We'd probably only get 1 year out of Brady, maybe a little more, but I think he would be a good quarterback for that year. But we also have Kyler and Josh Allen, so not in a big rush to get a quarterback like him. Really, not any quarterback that I'd be super interested in drafting right here. At running back, you got Raheem Mostert, A.J. Dillon, who is very interesting if Aaron Jones walks in free agency. Chase Edmonds, again, another interesting shot at running back. David Johnson, Myles Gaskin are interesting. Keyshawn Vaughn, I mentioned down there. And a wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk. You can see here Chase Claypool, Jalen Reagor, Devontae Adams is here, Laviska Shenault. Quick look at tight end. Dallas Goedert is the best available. Also Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram, Mike Gesicki. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to McCole Hardman down here at wide receiver because, maybe next year when Sammy Watkins is expected to leave in free agency this season. Well, he is a free agent. And Demarcus Robinson is also scheduled to be a free agent. Maybe next year McCole Hardman can step into that wide receiver 2 area for Pat Mahomes, and then he can hopefully finally break out. Just a thought. But
so what are your thoughts on Myles Gaskin? Why is he so low? Do you think they're going to get a running back in the draft?
Because in my honest opinion, I don't think Myles Gaskin is a very good run. I think he's a decent running back. But what I believe is that he performed well because of the offense last season, because of the volume and because of the offense that he was in. I think if they drafted, for example, Travis Etienne in the second round, I think that it would escalate their offense so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be drastic. Travis Etienne, if he went to the Dolphins at that point, he becomes a top 10 dynasty running back for me. Maybe not high
Especially
end, but he'd be sneaking around there at 10, maybe 11 or 12. But my concern would be year one, because Myles Gaskin, I think, would hold on to that role for year one, kind of like a J.K. Dobbins situation. But that offense relies on one running back, which is a big workload. Myles Gaskin, a former seventh, it's kind of the same sort of doubts that you have about guys who get drafted later or not drafted at all. Chris Carson has come up and been a really good running back. What's James Robinson this year? Philip Lindsay in the years past. Now, Philip Lindsay's a little different, but still, it's just, it happens so rarely that a guy comes up from being such a late draft pick and is successful that it's hard
In
to
most
trust
cases,
it.
they end up losing their job like Philip Lindsay did to. They got Royce Freeman next year, which didn't pan out. Then they signed Melvin Gordon with Chris Carson. They ended up drafting Rashad Penny. I don't know if they expected him to take the job from Carson.
I mean, he's a
Carson,
first-round pick, so I feel like they did. You wouldn't spend a first-round. Seattle and their first-round picks. It's a miracle
they
they're
trade
good.
them where they draft somebody that does not pan out.
And then who's the other one? James Robinson. Yet to be determined
Exactly.
with James Robinson, but I mean, it's just there's not a whole lot of history to go off of where you say, okay, this 7th-round running back paid off phenomenal. Like, there's random little cases, but it's just hard to trust. So looking at our team, which right now, if we were saying let's fill our starting roster, we would fill tight end and flex. I think
Goddard might be a good pick here because
honestly, I think I'd be most
athletic.
inclined to go Myles Gaskin and take the shot that he will be the future. Because if he is the future, like maybe Miami just says, okay, we're fine with Myles Gaskin, and then spends the pick to upgrade at a different position, like defense or offensive line or something, like maybe instead they just say, okay, well, Gaskin's pretty good. There's no reason for us to just give up on him,
Yeah.
I like Goddard, but I mentioned, Jalen Hurts in that finale, I know he only played basically 3 quarters, but he didn't look good. And it was, I know a lot of people were out, and I know there was a lot going on, but it's just certain situations like that,
Well, hopefully, as an Eagles fan, Carson Wentz is our QB next year, as bad as he was this year.
We'll see. The relationship between him and Doug Peterson is irreparable because how dare you bench him? How dare you? He wasn't playing.
Lead the league in turnovers. How dare you bench him?
He wasn't playing absolutely god awful. Can we? I would prefer to take Myles Gaskin here and take the shot that Dallas Goedert falls in the next round because let's say Goedert.
I'm fine with that. I'm a big Gaskin fan.
Okay, because I like Mike Gesicki a little bit here too. Hunter Henry's a free agent, and I think he'll walk, so I'm not super interested in him. But once you get lower in the tight end category, it's kind of like a dart throw. That's what I meant to say. But running back, we need that depth. We definitely need that depth. After Myles Gaskin, Hunter Henry, Cam Newton, Darrell Henderson, Curtis Samuel, Chase Edmonds went 10-01, then Dallas Goedert, sadly. Marlon Mack, Julian Edelman. I do like Dallas Goedert. I would have liked to take him. If we're just looking to fill out our roster, Evan Ingram, Mike Gesicki, Jonnu Smith, Irv Smith.
I think Gesicki's better over Ingram. Ingram's
Logan Thomas is kind of interesting down there.
But Gesicki had a great year. I feel like he's better with Fitzpatrick, but
hopefully
when the offense gets better, Tua has more time with the coaching staff and learn the offense. He could take a big step next year, and Gesicki could benefit a lot.
Definitely. I like Gesicki the best of these players too, and he's still very young. So he has that upside. Let's make 2 more picks here for our team, some depth picks here, and we'll call it here, Stefan. Sad Jameson Crowder went there at 111. I would have liked him. John
Jalen
Brown.
Rager.
John Brown went 11.7 is very low. Jalen Rager at 11.5. Brandon Ayuk 11.3. Raheem Mostert 11.01. David Johnson 10.09. He's under contract for the next 2 seasons, guaranteed $10 million each year. That to get a workhorse that low, 10.09. That's very I don't know. That's a steal. According to experts, Nyheim Hines is the best pick here. Chase Claypool, Laviska Shenault, Evan Ingram. Stefan, would you be one of those guys where we have Jonathan Taylor? Does that make you more inclined to take Nyheim Hines?
Not at this point, because we already have really solid running back depth. We could. I don't think it's worth it for Hines, especially with Claypool there. Mm-hmm. Claypool had a great rookie season. Now with the Big Ben, who knows if he'll retire? That's going to hurt his stock. But Pittsburgh is known for breeding great wide receivers, and Claypool just had a great season as well.
And Juju is an upcoming free agent, and I don't expect him back. So that that's another situation.
The rookie, he's
let's see. When you look at the side here, as far as running back,
would have been interesting if the Jets had the first pick, but
Trevor
Lawrence.
Who wants them? Who needs them? At running back, I mentioned. Well, AJ Dillon's also kind of interesting here at the top. Like I mentioned,
Jones, yeah.
Keyshawn Vaughn, the GOAT. I'm not too interested in a lot of these running backs, so I feel like a lot of them are going to be like lower end shot guys. I'd be more interested in either Chase Claypool or Laviska Shenault, but another name I'm interested in is Tom Brady, because I feel like Tom Brady, like he's only going to give us 1 year, but obviously you look at our team, I feel like we're stacked at like almost every single position, where if like Kyler got hurt or Josh Allen got hurt or there was a situation where, they had a bad matchup, we could plug in Brady and feel pretty confident about that.
I agree.
Well, then I'll do it. I will take Tom Brady right here. And I think Big Ben, by the way, will come back for one more season unless they win the Super Bowl this year, which I don't know. We'll see. I have that preseason Super Bowl bet on the Steelers, so hopefully they do, but we'll see. AJ Green went 11.09, then Evan Ingram, Tony Pollard, McCall Hardman. Nyheim Hines went 12.01, Sterling Shepard, Drew Lock, Anthony Miller. Let's call this our last pick here, Stefan.
Tyrod Taylor.
You fanboy.
Claypool.
You fanboy. Okay, so experts are very torn as well, according to this. 44% Laviska, 43% Claypool. Excuse me.
Laviska definitely has his future QB situation in better hands with Trevor Lawrence, but I just feel Claypool's ability is better.
Megatron upside. And that's kind of where we're at here. We don't really have, like, you look at our roster, we have Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, and T. Higgins. For either Chase Claypool or Laviska Shenault to crack our lineup, they would have to be elite. Like, Laviska Shenault could be like a solid, and I think he will be a very solid, producer, but Chase Claypool has the upside to actually crack our roster. So yeah, I agree with that. I like the upside sort of situation here with Chase Claypool. I think he's talented, and I think he can hit that. So we'll draft him here to round out our quick little 12-round mock here, really quick, I'm going to run through our final roster. Like I said, this roster would never happen in real life, but we got a little lucky here. So we had the 8th pick. Just a little. Had the 8th pick, Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, James Robinson at running back, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, and T. Higgins at wide receiver. We had Mike Gesicki at tight end, Antonio Gibson and Myles Gaskin in the flex, Josh Allen in the super flex spot, and then on the bench, Tom Brady and Chase Claypool. If we wanted to finish this team, we would probably have to, create a whole nother episode, which would be very extensive and difficult and probably boring towards the end of it. But, this is the gist, and this would be the most important part. Stefan, if I walked out of a draft with this team, I would just cry.
League, I would want to know who you're playing in leagues with, because I want to be friends with them and play in leagues with them as well.
Well, we're playing with Keep Calm and Carry On, Home for the Galladays, Julian Schredelman, Fat Man, the dude who drafted Carson Wentz in the 5th round, Not My Cup of Tea, and get it, it's T-E-E, like T. Higgins. Like, I will say that these AIs, these bots, they have some good names. They have some good creativity.
Well, they have some good names. Maybe that'll carry them to a championship.
Better than your team, I can guarantee that. But yeah, I love mock drafting, so I can really for you. I don't know how much you love mock drafting, but like it just gets me hyped for the next season, And it's funny too. We didn't have any of the rookies there. I think it didn't count their stats from 2020, which may have been a reason why a lot of rookies were falling a little further. But
also, it's kind of hard to draft the rookie class incoming because they're not on teams yet. I mean, the only one we know is Trevor Lawrence going to the Jaguars, and that's about it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Stefan, it was great drafting with you. Great talking with you. Thank you for coming on. Don't forget to subscribe, because I don't understand what kind of fake
I'm about to
comes on
my phone right now.
comes onto the pod and doesn't subscribe. For all of you listening at Dynasty Force podcast or at Dynasty Force Pod on Twitter, and then Dynasty Force Podcast on YouTube. And again, if you're listening, I'm assuming you're listening on all major platforms. But in case you're watching, we are on all major platforms. As you can see there, Apple Podcasts, Stefan is subscribing. He's just showing you how. Oh, since when? When did you upgrade?
2 weeks ago.
Wow, that is an up. What did you want, the 2021 Unwrapped? Or
kind of, because the Apple Music one didn't really work for me. I don't know why. Like the Apple Music replay, it's kind of basic, but it said I only listened to, like, my top song was 40 times, and I know I listened to a song more than 40 times throughout a whole year. Like, all right, I'm going to see Spotify, and I had a 3-month for free, so why not?
Yeah, and it has its perks. I got Hulu with Showtime. Some nice little perks there. So reason to join, and you're a student, so you'll get that too. Not a sponsor for Spotify, but instead you can go on Spotify. You can also go on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to the Dynasty Force podcast if you like. And I please, Stefan. Maybe I will get you on here again eventually. I can't guarantee it. And to be quite honest, I don't really want you back. So thank you. You had a good run.
I ruined it.
Yeah, we could have gotten Alvin Kamara on our team. How dare you? thank you for coming on, though, for sure. It was definitely fun. And thank you all for listening and tuning in. Again, next week will be exciting. We have our rankings. Hopefully, we will have our updated Dynasty rankings. I'm trying to bring Trey Tyndall, the Superflex guru and the founder of the Forecast, on to the pod. So that would be fun to have a nice little episode going over our Dynasty rankings updates after the 2020 season with him, with Billy back, and yeah, the whole situation. That would be fun. And I know Stefan will be listening now that he subscribed on Spotify. So my life has been made. All right. Thank you again. You can follow me on Twitter, by the way, at FantasyForceFB. And if you want to follow Stefan, I don't know why you would, but if you would, at StefanBeck13 on Twitter. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the little mock draft, and hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll catch you next week here at the Dynasty